The boat you can see behind me is the Viknes 10. That's this chap over here, not this one, which is an XO. In fact, you can see it's got Viknes 10 written on it, but I wanted to bring you around here so you can see the shape of it from the bow, which we can't really see from anywhere else. And it's an interesting one to have a look at, very practical. They make them in Norway, so a lot of practical Scandinavian thinking. And we are going to wander around and we're going to do the full tour. But yeah, interesting layouts on this one and some interesting ideas. And that's how she looks from here. Very, very practical. We'll have a wander around the decks and I'll show you some of the features out there, but I want to take you inside first of all because the layout's quite unusual on this one. We'll step on here. There's a door here, of course, so this can be closed off across the transom. And then you've got your cockpit area out here. Now what's quite neat with this is that all of this is the canopy system that will drop and then slide around on these tracks and just come down. And then there's like a tensioning section at the bottom which comes around into here. And that is what tensions it up. So it's really quick to deploy the canopies on this one and to put them away. But also, there's a big sliding roof. You can see it overhead. And in fact, I'll find the button for that in a second and show you that. We've got cockpit area out here. The table, of course, will fold out, but it will also drop and infill to give you a daybed out here or sunbathing or whatever else you want to have. Interesting thing with these cushions on here, they have storage underneath them, but they hinge at the front, and what that means is that you can open them without actually removing the cushions. They just open like that. If they open that way, you have to get these cushions off because they clash with these. That one there is the gas bottle. It's gas cooking on this one, and in fact there's space for a second one in there as well, so that's quite unusual. That's the telescopic leg for the table, so that can drop down. We've got engine access under my feet here. We'll look at that as well. But another thing we've got is what they call a trolling station. So this is for doing a little bit of fishing. You can run the boat at low speed. You won't want to run it fast from out here, but it means you can be out here where people are fishing, part of the party, or docking as well, of course, because you've actually got a door here. So when you're coming into a marina, you're right next to the ability to step out with a line. We've got engine control and we've got bow and stern thruster control, and there's a little Marine screen here as well. That's not, of course, the main helm position. The main helm position is inside, but that is quite a useful little station, because if you stand here you've still got the view all the way around. If we head on inside, then there is a little secret cabin in here, and I'll show you that, but I'll take you through first of all. This is interesting because this is a gas hob, would you believe. It looks like a ceramic electric hob, but it's no, that's gas, and it's a gas oven as well down underneath the helm seat there. There's a fridge, of course, tucked away in here, and then we've got the big sink and another sink thusly, and then bits of storage tucked away like this. I was going to show you that roof, wasn't I? So one of these will be, let's have a look, slide roof deck. That sounds good. There it goes. And you can see what a difference that makes now. That's become a very, very open area. But with that closed, as I say, you can enclose it around the sides as well. Let's head on a bit further forward. We have got, of course, loads of storage about the place like this. There is crockery storage. Where did I see that? Down here. Cutlery in that one, and spare glasses. And another thing that they've done is they've made this helm seat, we'll look at this in a second, of course, but that can go forward to give you a bit more space here, but also you can have a TV lift in there. In fact, you can see it, TV's not in, but the lift is, so that you can have that lifting up for a little bit of television, and that can be viewed from this side then. Let's drop that one back down. Actually, there's another thing to show you in here, which is, if we lift this floor hatch, look at this space down here, absolutely massive storage space. And in fact, if I come around this side, you can see, you know, we always say there's never enough storage on boats, but look at this, there's these down here. That is remarkable, isn't it? So that's that one. Let's pop that one back down. And we'll head on a bit further. Lots of moving parts on this one, isn't there? Including this side door. So from the helm, you're straight out onto that side. It's got asymmetric decks, so there's a bigger, deeper, wider one on that side, a narrower but still usable one on the other side. We'll wander around there in a bit. Lift bolster, which makes it much easier to get in and out, of course. And then the helm position is here. Now again, we've got a sliding roof overhead. So with that door open and the roof open, and there's a window on that side as well, this can make this quite an open area. And look how they put a handle in the centre, and this lighting that goes around here is really nice as well. At the helm itself then, we've got the big multifunction display, trim tab controls, wiper switches, all the usual kind of stuff, engine controls and so forth. And in fact there's an autopilot on this one as well, which is rather good. And it looks like a Victron inverter on here too. Splendid. That's the bow and stern thruster controls. And then on this side you've got this forward-facing seat, which is raised up to a similar sort of height, so it's higher than the dinette. But what you can do with this, you see this mechanism here, we can drop that one forward like that, and you see it lowers and comes down to create part of the dinette, and then the table will unfold if you want it to. And now you've got a really nice big dining area, or fold the table up and it makes a nice lounging area. Excellent. That's a useful space, isn't it? Let's press on a bit further. Fusion stereo up here, and then down here you can close this off. There's a door here, so if you want to have that closed you can, and I'm guessing that's a sliding section there then, presumably. Hang on. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that comes across like that. Perhaps a two-piece thing. So that can be closed. I'm going to be honest and say I'm not quite sure why you would. I suppose if you wanted privacy for that area, if you wanted to make that into a bed up there, that would make some sense, wouldn't it? Check out this forward cabin, 5 foot wide bed. That's absolutely huge, and still got good access around it as well. Very useful for getting in and out of bed, but also very useful for making the bed. This is something a lot of people don't think about. We've got the windows, of course, on the side, but we've also got this big overhead hatch as well, so that opens for light and ventilation. And then this is storage, so we've got the hanging rail in this side, there's storage down here, there's storage everywhere actually. I'll show you a bit more that's out in the passageway in a second. Drawers are down underneath like so. You can see we're at a boat show, can't you? And then over on this side, this is shelving, I think. Hey, there we go. Excellent. And a little unit by the bed there as well. So that is that. If we go back a bit further, we'll find another cabin in here. It's another double cabin, and this one runs back underneath the helm position and then across like so. So again, a nice big wide double bed, comfortable little cabin. That, sorry about the siren in the background, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's you get a lot of that here in Southampton. Obviously a lot of miscreants about the place. Storage, usual kind of deal. And again, we've got a little opening window here as well for a bit of ventilation and a nice light finish. And opposite this then is the heads. There's just the one heads on this boat. Obviously at this sort of size, as I said, it's about 10 metres, so what's that, about 35 feet. That is what you'd expect. But what's quite neat about this is the fact you've got, of course, your sink and your loo is underneath here, and then you've got your shower. But what you can do with the shower is it has got, if I close that one over a moment, it's got these doors here, they unclip from there, that one comes across like that, and then that one unfolds across. You can see it going across there, so it comes all the way across then, and you can enclose the shower area with that, which is rather clever. But when it's not in use, it disappears completely out of the way like that. Brilliant. That's that. Bit of storage. Lots of storage, it's everywhere on here. It's a very practical thinking boat actually. And of course, mirror wave. Fantastic. Out here then, we have got storage underneath the steps, thusly, and even down in the floor. If we flip that one there, that opens up, and we've got more storage down there. It's all nicely lined. Good. I promised you a secret cabin, and I shall deliver, but not until we've had a look in this one. really do cram it all in, don't they? Perfect. That one we saw, that was the one with the sliding plastic containers in. And this one, if we lift that, is the perfect space to tuck your daughter's boyfriend away. Look at this. He'll be out of harm's way back here, won't he? But it's actually quite a nice little cabin. How about that for using all the space? Brilliant as well. If you've got young kids and they don't want to share, well then you've got that cabin further forward, and then you've got this one as well, and again bits of storage tucked around the place. That is a nifty little space down there. Fantastic. Okay, that is the interior. We're going to take a wander around the outside, and then I'm going to show you the engine. So if we come out here, as I mentioned, it's asymmetric decks, so you can see that side there is a higher one that comes back, but we're going to go all the way around, show you that it's all accessible, or show you me falling in, one of the two. So that's that door, obviously straight out onto the side, very helpful. You can see there's rails everywhere around here, so you've got them here, we've got them up here as well, and that, oh, I want to look in here, because fender storage tucked away in there, and it's a draining locker as well, so if they're wet, it's not a problem. That's the side door from the internal Helm. That's that big sliding roof that you can see here, and we've got radar on top, and we've got the GPS antennas and nav lights and that kind of thing, and the radio antennas are up there as well, so that's all going on there. And then right up to the front, another really neat feature is the fact that this little chap here, if we give that a little pull, it will flip over and give us a couple of really comfy seats right up on the front, and the little table there for your drinks. How cool is that? That's absolutely fantastic, isn't it? That's the hatch that's over that forward cabin. And then right up to the front here, we've got, of course, the anchor handling kit and so forth, the anchor winch and chain and all of that. And because it's a Norwegian boat, this one's got the ladder down off the front as well, because they like to anchor off of islands with the back of the boat off the islands, and the front then accessing the beach or the rocks or whatever else. We're going to head around this way. As I say, it's a much narrower walkway down this side, and you can see how they put the rails on the outside rather than on the tow rail there. But what they have done is put this very useful rail along here, and that makes walking along here a lot more confidence inspiring. But you can see it is narrow, but it's usable. You'd only really use this one if you were putting some fenders out or whatever else, or maybe cleaning the boat. It's not one that you would use on a regular basis. And we've just had the wash of a big ship roll through the marina. Just to add a bit of excitement and danger to walking down this side of the boat. Remarkable. There we are, you can see everything taken off down here. Now this is interesting back here, because there's lots of little storage compartments for rope bins or fenders, and you can see the diesel filler there as well. But check this one out. If I move my shoes out of the way, there's a massive one down here that will take a couple of ball fenders. Don't often see that on a boat of this size, or indeed any size for that matter. Excellent. And again, similar deal over here. This one's for your shore power cable, and the power goes in there as well, of course. So that is that. The last thing to talk about then is the engine, and it's a single shaft drive engine on this one. There are two sections that can be lifted up. You can see there's one over there as well, but this is the main one. So if we lift that and give it a little turn, that will open up like so. Now the first thing to mention before we start diving into the engine compartment is again a simply enormous storage area. Check this out. Look at that. Absolutely massive, isn't it? And then the engine itself, you can take this whole section out. In fact, I think it's Does it hinge or does it unbolt? No, it unbolts down there. So if you're doing anything more serious, you can take this aft section out. But of course, you normally keep that in to protect everything that's in here. And then the engine itself is up here. Let me just maneuver myself around a little bit and I'll get you in there. There we are. That is a Yanmar diesel engine. It's 440 horsepower. And it's given this boat about 29 knots flat out. And cruising, I suppose, about 20 knots is very comfortable. It's actually a semi-displacement hull, not a full planing hull, which means you can run at any speed really from 8 knots upwards, and it'll cruise quite nicely. And in fact, if you are running at 8 knots, then you're looking at about 850 miles of range, which is excellent. But as I say, you can get these panels out, you can get to that side of the engine through the other hatch, but this one just gets you in really for sort of daily checks and that kind of stuff, just to make sure everything's all right. Fuel tank outboard here, and I think there's one on the other side as well. Yes, there is. Very good. So that's that. Excellent. Let us drop that one back down. Like so. And I should mention as well, we've got the sliding door here, but we've also got an electric window. That's this little chap here. So this one comes up, that one slides across, and that's what closes that whole area up. And I'm going to put that seat back down as I found it. And that, my friends, is about the size of that. It's a very interesting boat, isn't it? For 35 foot, they have packed a lot into that, and I think it works very well. Good. Let's wander around to the bow and finish off up there. In fact, I'm going to go and sit in those comfy seats. That's what I'm going to do. Yes, perfect. With a lovely view out across the bow. Let me park myself here. Ah, well, that's nice. And I will say massive thanks to Fine Design Marine. They've got this one for sale. They're dealers for these. And massive thanks, of course, to you guys for watching. Let me know what you think of that one in the comments, and we'll catch you on another one of these real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.